And I think that that's what we're just really trying to do. I know we're doing a great job at it when we look at sort of the growth opportunities as well as sort of the inflation. I dare I say opportunities, but I think you need to kind of look at what's going on out there and figure out where these opportunities lie. I mean, I pointed to one of our stock picks, again, up 22%. But, part of the reason for this is when you look at commodities right now, this cracks me up, Rob. I got to show you. I did a short on this on my own channel. This is also my channel, by the way, guys, that I share with Rob, longtime friend, very, very dear friend. And Rob and I got together to start 76 Research, specifically because we felt like there was a void in the marketplace and we really wanted to give you this opportunity to access great quality research at consumer level prices. So that's our goal. But anyway, let me turn to one of the things that I showed on the show. And this is what's going on in the Bay Area of California. Now, we know about the Bay Area. They got their issues. And, you got copper prices going through the roof, and you combine sort of the lack of law and order with higher copper prices, and suddenly everybody's taking them from the Tesla stations. This is crazy. Just watch it.
You would think that it's a protest or some symbol of activism, but it's not. It's the Bay Area. These things have a load of copper in them. So you're going to recycle them and cash them
in. So, I mean, wild. And this, by the way, this somebody on YouTube posted this, but I've seen this on NBC News and other places, the local media out there. Everybody's covering it. It's just crazy. But, copper's way up. I get it. And there's no law and order.
Yeah, no. Look, that stock pick you highlighted was a copper stock, and that we were really kind of, our point in mentioning it is that, we like to kind of flag these specific ideas when we think they're really timely in the 76 report, and to make the case, and that one has worked out pretty well. Copper is really moving. I think it closed at like 10,300 or so on Friday. And there's a really interesting, just long-term case for copper. If you go back actually to 2011, copper was just about 10,000 a ton. Going back well over 10 years ago, right? And then it kind of had a dip because a lot of the copper demand was driven by China construction, and sort of as the Chinese real estate economy sort of imploded, that led to a dip in the copper price, but it also led to a reduction in sort of investment in new copper supply. And so that's been this overhang for the last 10 years, really, Chinese construction demand. But the long-term backdrop for copper is this electrification theme, which is this idea that, the more and more digital kind of innovation, electronic content in everything is driving really structurally increased demand for copper. And, it's interesting, that was a Tesla video. The average electric vehicle has 4 times as much copper content as a internal combustion car. So, whether or not you're a huge believer in EVs, I think, the likelihood is we're going to see a lot more EVs on the road over time. But that's just one example. We need a ton of copper for all the data centers that are going to power the AI applications, the investment in the electric grid, renewables. So the massive demand expectation for copper, and supply of copper, as I said, I mean, it was sort of reduced because of that implosion of Chinese demand, but it's really just hard to mine more copper. It's only a few places on Earth really have abundant copper resources, particularly Peru and Chile, Congo, China. These are the top 4 countries for naturally occurring copper resources. So there's a real supply demand issue. And lately there's been this kind of more like a short squeeze in the market, but I don't see any reason why, we're at 10,000. We were close to 10,000 over 10 years ago. I think it really has a lot of room to keep going up before demand is destroyed by the copper price.
Yeah, and it's interesting, your point on AI and the data centers that are going to power that, and the need for copper there, as well as EVs. regardless of whether you believe in that or not, I think the reality is they're here with us and they're going to be part of the automobile economy. This is something that, Ivanhoe Capital's founder, Robert Freeland, was talking about recently on Bloomberg, my old stomping ground. I just want to play you a quick soundbite and get your thoughts on it. I think he's making the point, right? Sort of as you were, this electrification is a real theme, and it means you want more copper, basically. Here we go.
Humanity needs to mine about as much copper in the next 20 to 25 years as we've mined in the last 10,000 years, just to maintain global 3% GDP growth. If we're going to dream about an energy transition to power these bright lights and to bring everybody here for this conference, we need to mine the same amount of copper in a very short period of time as we ever have.
Yeah, I get it, right? So in other words, we need more and more and more of this stuff.
Yeah. And look, I mean, you talk to mining company executives, they're almost always going to be pretty bullish, but it doesn't mean they're wrong. And I think, everything I've looked at in terms of like the long-term supply demand scenario for copper is really favorable. I just think that the risk reward is really to the upside. And you can't, it's just physically impossible to have a, kind of a quick supply response, right? Because these are just enormously complex mining projects that take like literally decades to negotiate with the local governments and to permit and to make the investments. So, that's, I still like it, even though that one stock we showed, had some good upside recently.
Yeah, you still like it. I like it too. And I think in the long-term sort of fundamentals, if you would, of copper, which is what's going to really grow that over time. When you look at whether to invest in the mining company versus copper, the commodity, I mean, we chose in this particular case, the company itself. One of the reasons for that being you have an opportunity, especially in this sort of inflation scenario, right, to grasp not just the inflation aspect to the commodity itself, but I think in this case too, especially with copper, the business itself. So if it's a well-run business, then you're going to benefit as an investor from that as well.